to the Flowing Health podcast. I'm excited today to have Riccardo Sai with me. Riccardo is a photographer, film director, and founder of Storo. And today we're talking about a very relevant subject for modern times, which is empowering people and brands and reshaping the world. So welcome, Riccardo.
Thank you, Alessandro, for having me. So hello, everybody.
Great. And I've known Ricardo a couple of years. I love his work. He's going to talk more about it in a minute. But I think we'll start off maybe with your story and maybe what defined you as who you are today. What brought you to this idea of empowering people and brands?
Yeah, well, let's start with my story then, because there's nothing better than talking about storytelling than starting with a story. So I always been very passionate about storytelling. So I used to read a lot when I was younger, and I'm still reading a lot. And then I had a passion for art and anything that is visual. So I used to make drawings. I used to paint. I used to express myself visually, and I love music as well. So when it was come to when I had to decide what to do with my life, I decided to study film and art at the University of Bologna. And that's how my passion for storytelling, for visual storytelling, really started. And so it started a few decades ago. We're not spring chicken, Alessandro, isn't
We're
it?
not, no.
I wish we were. And so I started really to my career making films. And over the years, then I specialized in moving pictures as well as still pictures, so still photography, as well as films. And it's interesting how at the beginning of my career, I wanted to, when you are a teenager, you want to change the world. You want to make a big splash with your life. So I had all these dreams. I was a scout. I was involved in all sorts of different organization and running workshop internationally. So I was really keen on just leaving a mark with my work. And then, got married, moved to the UK. I started to work with brands. And I'm grateful because I work with big brands like Nike, Microsoft, Timberland, Nivea, etc. So it was great. And I've been doing that for the last 20 years. So I'm really grateful that I had a successful career in film and photography. But but at the beginning, I was doing quite a lot of work for charities. I did cinema adverts, TV adverts as well for the European community. I was doing documentaries, all with a social impact. And then when I started to work in advertising, gradually, years after years, I kind of lost really track of what was my purpose. So why do we need stories? Why do we need that photography? Why do we need another film like that one? So really kind of went through a soul searching period at a personal level, but also at a professional level. And about 6-7 years ago, my life changed dramatically. Yeah, dramatically, because it was quite shocking, the change. But at the same time, it was a change that I wanted and that I was looking for. So I became Buddhist, and that has been one of the biggest change that happened in my life. I went through a divorce and separated from my wife. I have 2 children, so it was quite painful and difficult at the beginning. And since 7 years ago, I really started to think about, okay, so personally, I'm a much happier person. I have a place in the world. I'm feeling much better with myself. I feel happier about myself. There is a sense of direction. Through Buddhism, I discover what is happiness. What is happiness? How can we become happy in this world? So I learn how the key of happiness is really helping other people. supporting other people on their journeys, and while doing that, you become happy because they become happy. So it's all about kind of connectivity and connecting yourself with the others. But there was something missing, which was the my job. So so during COVID, I've been thinking about that because, of course, I did work less because the whole kind of film advertising industry was it wasn't shut, but of course, there was less work
Much limited, much more
yeah,
limited. Yeah.
much limited. So I started really to think about okay, so this is what's happening. So this could be an opportunity to kind of change direction if I want to. So I did think about that, and I thought, well, maybe after 20 years making films and photography, maybe I need to do something else. So, and I thought about that, but that actually I realized that I absolutely love my job. I love telling stories. They are it feels whenever I'm in front of a camera, no, not in front, actually behind the camera, I'm excited, So I'm flowing. I'm in a flow, and creating images, adding sound to the pictures, um, just expressing myself, allowing clients to express themselves and to share what they're doing with the rest of the world. It was very exciting for me, and it didn't feel like a job really. It was more like a hobby. So looking back, because a lot of the time the answers to our questions are actually already within us, and that's actually very interesting because that what happens a lot in the hero's journey. So when it comes to storytelling and to think about a film, any film really, there is a hero, and that hero has got some kind of internal problem, and then something from the outside comes and trigger a change. So that's the call to action. So you have to go in the forest. You need to fight that monster. You need to, I don't know, you need to go on a journey. So the journey starts from your home, where everything it feels is safe. Everything is okay, apparently, on the surface. But during that journey, you discover many new things, and a lot of obstacles, a lot of antagonists as well. But you realize that actually a lot of the barriers, the obstacles that you have are actually within yourself. And that's the beauty of that journey, because when you come back to your home, everything around you is different because you have changed along the way. And that's exactly what happened to me. So I started that journey 7 years ago, but I was still on that journey. And to be honest, I'm still on that journey now, but I realized that I wanted to work with those clients that I did work in the past, which were the clients that had values. They really wanted to make an impact on the world. And just looking back at where my passion started and my first jobs developed were with brands and organizations that really wanted to make a difference. So I work with the British Red Cross, with the Red Cross Federation. I have worked with a gorilla organization on a beautiful campaign with Bilodi. I have worked with them on a very impactful campaign for the Home Office about female genital mutilation, etc., etc., etc. So I have done those work already in my career. The problem is that they were not the main focus. So I decided to completely shift and start working in that direction. So, and that's where Storo, which is the name of my company, started really. And Storo, it's a visual storytelling studio, and we focus on really kind of empowering clients and brands and people who are passionate about making a difference to tell stories, to tell more meaningful stories, to create stories that can really make an impact, that can share with the rest of the world, that can inspire the rest of the world with what they are doing. And in doing that, they can create a positive impact. That's basically what we do, because there's nothing better than stories to really create that change.
Yeah.
Enough talking. I think I've talked quite a lot.
No, no,
I
but
need,
you explained it very, very, in a very powerful way, and how the importance of storytelling. And I love the way you brought in the hero's journey, because we're all, in a way, challenged. That formula that they use in films is we all have a hero's journey in life, and I feel it's never ending. But I know exactly what you mean by Buddhism. I take a great interest in Buddhism, in energy work, and as you say, I think most, if not all of the journey is in us. How we deal with what's happening around us, but also, where are we taking action from? Where inside us are we courageous? Are we strong? Are we inspired? And I think it's beautiful that you're kind of helping people open up and share their inspiration, with the world, and make a greater impact. And I think visually, we know how visually things impact people much more than, in the old days, it was blogs, it was writing, but now the visual impact of video and film is so powerful, and I think that's amazing. And any particular areas or themes that seem to come up with either you that you're more interested in? So I know obviously it could be the environment, could be recycling, could be your human, personal growth. Are there some areas, or is it more general that?
yeah, I mean, it's yeah, that's very interesting because uh, I I I tend to work with clients who are purpose led, and I know it's quite broad as
Yeah.
a term, but um, I do like to work with clients and people and brands that understand the power of storytelling. They understand also um, how important it is to visually tell that story. So that's for me, it's very, very important. So sustainability, it's a big area, and so one part of some of the clients that I'm working with, they are working in sustainability in the circular economy, and they want to help the environment. They want to do something about that. And so in general, I work with people who want to grow their business, who want to make a profit, because that's important, but also they want to make a positive impact on other people and on the planet. And the thing is that, and also I remember we had this conversation with you, Alessandro, how everything is really connected, isn't it? Like kind of
Yes,
spiritual
yes.
growth. And so having an impact on yourself, on your development as well. So changing yourself from within, as well as creating that change outside of you. The more I've been working in this kind of in this journey, really,
Yeah.
I realized how there's not much difference, because if you want to change the environment, you have to radically change the way you think. We think as human beings. There's a the reason why human beings have evolved and they are still alive is because they are competitive. They're looking for something. They're always changing. They're learning all the time. They're competing with each other. They're competing for the best ideas. So that's good. The problem with that is that there's a dark side of that, and is the greediness, is the love of power. So that leads to all the problems that we have at the moment, I think. So lack of connectivity between countries, lack of direction, and just really selfishness, and just really thinking about what is best for myself, for my country, for my city, and not really thinking about that. This is a time, and I think COVID really helped us to really or trigger that change in terms of behavior, how we really have to change our attitude towards ourselves, other countries, the whole planet, and the whole universe, really. Because what's the point of going to Mars if we don't sort out the problems that we have here? And as we said before, a lot of those answers are already within us. So I think I'm helping clients to use storytelling to change their culture, but also inspire other people to start a similar journey. And I
Yeah,
think that's very exciting. I think so.
yeah,
Yeah. So going back to your question, I mean, the environment is a big it's a big aspect of what I do. So I'm really passionate about that. But I think also that goes, as I was saying, hand to hand also with personal development. So I like to work also with companies and people who are working in that sense. So I like, for example, working. I like photography. I like making personal branding photo shoots with coaches, therapists, for example, because it's incredible how challenging is to capture their stories in one image. How can you tell a story? How can you capture the essence, the energy of these people in one image, or two images, or three images? Very
yeah.
difficult, but I like the.
That's a great
I like the
challenge. I agree with you. I think it's very difficult. When I look at photos of myself, like most people, I don't like them, and but every so often, someone has captured me. Maybe I don't even want to say in a relaxed moment, but somehow the essence of me, and
yeah.
that's rare. That's rare. So that's a skill that I'm sure is greatly both in demand and to be desired. In the notes for everybody listening, we'll put links to your website, and people can get in touch if they want some of these incredible either portraits or maybe filmmaking. And I just wanted, as we're talking about the environment, maybe some people do know this story, but I'd say many people don't, about the founder of the Patagonia clothing company, Yvon Chouinard, who recently passed away in September this year, and gave his company away to a charitable
He hasn't
trust.
passed away.
Oh,
He
hasn't
hasn't.
he?
No,
Okay.
not yet. I mean, he's
Oh,
elderly,
sorry,
but
sorry.
he hasn't
Okay,
passed away
okay. Oh, gives away. No, sorry.
yet.
Sorry.
Hey, don't cut it. This is great. We
No,
like
this
that.
sorry. It's my ignorance. No, Yvon Chouinard is very much alive, and he has given away the company to a charitable trust focused on fighting the climate crisis. And this company is obviously worth billions. I've got Patagonia products. I think everybody has, and that is just such an inspiring story, because we're so used to the big brands who are really not focused, focused more on profit, like you said, focused on, really being successful, and don't really look at these aspects. So what are your thoughts on that? Yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks for mentioning Patagonia. I mean, Patagonia, it is one of the brands that everybody working in sustainability or in the purpose and impact sector, it's a great case study, and everybody loves Patagonia. So there's not a single person who doesn't like
Oh, good.
Patagonia.
Okay, that shows a good
Yeah,
example. And he's
it's a
alive.
great,
He's alive.
absolutely. Yeah, he's alive. Absolutely, he's
Thank God he's
alive.
alive.
Absolutely. No. But for me, I love your humor, Alessandro. Uh, but I think what to me is incredible about that story is, I mean, we could talk about hours for hours about Patagonia, but I'm just trying to say in a couple of words what I really like about Patagonia. I mean, Patagonia it's got a very strong purpose. They want to make a positive impact on the planet. So that's what they want to do. They don't want to pollute the environment with also endorsing a culture where we always need to follow the latest trend. We need to buy the next, we just had Black Friday, so we always need the latest outfit.
Gadget, or yeah.
Yeah, so they completely changed that. So they sell garments that last forever or for a very long time. They cost more, but people, because they believe in their purpose, in Patagonia's purpose, in their missions, they're willing to pay more money. So that's why what is really interesting is that in the green economy and sustainability, there is a lot of investment as well. Currently, there is a lot of demand for new ideas, for new projects, and there are brands who are really thriving. So a lot of time we think about, sustainability. Oh, there's not a lot of money, but actually there is, because people are willing to pay more for that. And so I think they completely change also the advertising rules in how they advertise their products. So they don't try to sell you the products. So, I mean, of course they do, but not in a very unethical way. So their marketing is very ethical. There's a lot of
Yeah,
talk.
actually, I saw a good example on your Instagram page. There was an ad for a down or a warm jacket, saying that this Patagonia jacket is filled with recycled fishing nets, and I love that. I think, wow, okay, yes, I want one of the. It's not an incredible. I think it's black. It's not a color that is desirable. It's not a print. It's a jacket. It's practical, and it's functional and helping to recycle a lot of this
Absolutely.
plastic
Absolutely.
that we can't use.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great example. And yeah, it's a photo that I took on the tube a few weeks ago. And yeah, that's just one example of what they do. But I think is what I think also it's incredibly interesting as well about purpose-led brands, is that they have incredible stories to tell. So already just this advert, for example, there's already an incredible story there. So how did they source the material? That's a story. That's a film in itself. And I haven't checked, but I'm sure they've done some videos. They've done some digital
About how they
content,
use it, yeah, how they
how they're using
recycle,
it. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And also about this product as well. So how did they come up with the idea of designing this new product, etc., etc. So I think that's actually one of the hidden weapons, if we don't want peaceful weapon, the purpose-led brands have, which is their stories of why they're doing what they're doing, the stories of their products, the story of their founders. That's incredible. And those stories are there already. You don't need to do much. And going back to what you were saying before about the founder of Patagonia, what I like about his story is that I don't think he has social media. He doesn't even have a phone, for example. So it's just him. He's wearing something really casual. So he's got a lot of money, but he doesn't need to show off that money. I like the fact that even the simplest and more minimal stories and the people who are less in the
In
less
the
visible,
public eye, or yeah.
the public eye, yeah, exactly. Those sometimes are the most interesting ones. And this is a great example of how his story, without even him being in front of the camera every 2 seconds in the public eye, his story it goes beyond him.
Yeah.
And I think that's fantastic, I think.
Beautiful, beautiful, and I'm sure your work, you'll be in great demand as more and more brands are heading in that direction, because I see it all the time. People are talking even on LinkedIn everywhere about ethically sourced, ethically produced, recycling. So I wish you all the best, and I'm sure as this reaches the world, people will be getting in touch to get you to help them tell their story about how they're impacting the world. Just before we end, I'm always fascinated with filmmakers and videos, about the length of videos, because people's attention spans are so short these days. That what's your feeling on, obviously if it's a fascinating story, people will watch 20 minutes, an hour. But have you noticed something around the length of video? Better to have like 10 shorter videos on different aspects, or kind of one video that has to really be edited, in different ways, because people's attention span is so short these days.
Yeah, I think there is there's an old adagio about that if you don't capture the attention of people on YouTube, in particular, in the first like 3 seconds or 6 seconds, that's it. That you lost them. that actually has changed. I mean, I did a recent project with an Instagram, with a YouTuber, actually, influencer. He told me that actually the most uh, the most interesting and with more views YouTube videos, actually the longer one, so like 10, 15, 20 minutes. People like a good long stories. Of course, has to be a good story, because
Yeah.
if it's just myself filming myself,
Yeah.
or my daughter, doing whatever, it's not interesting. So it
Yeah.
has to be an interesting story. So, otherwise, yeah, better to keep it short. So I think there is a space for any length, really, and you can repurpose the same video in many different ways. It's quite complicated these days, because there's a lot of, in the old days we used to say, oh, don't shoot vertically. That's like, no, 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 so
Yeah.
only horizontal. Now, of course, with Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, with Snapchat, with
TikTok.
TikTok, there's a there's a demand for vertical videos, and I've been doing quite a lot of videos in vertical format, but also a lot of time, because they get recut in and repurposed in different platforms. You have to be careful, because if then it goes on YouTube, you need to make sure that it can also work horizontally. Or if it goes on Instagram, not on Instagram Reel, but you need to make sure that it works as a square, in a square format. So it's a bit like I would say. So there's not like a straight answer. I would say, depending on the size of the brands, longer forms are difficult. You have to work with professionals. It's not easy.
To keep people's
Uh,
attention. Yeah, it's not
yeah,
easy. Yeah.
because you really need to edit them. You need to know
Yeah.
how to edit. You need to work with editors. You need to add graphics, perhaps. You need to have actors. So it's a bit more complicated. So short forms usually works best, I would say, for like small to medium size businesses. Uh, but yeah, so I wish I had a like a
A
like a
crystal
straight
ball
answer.
to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit like podcasts. If they're too long, I mean, I find generally half an hour, 45 minutes, is good. If it's an hour and a half already before listening, I think, have I got an hour and a half to listen? But I have listened to some that are 3 hours. So if it's interesting, it works. But I really appreciate today's chat, and wish you all the best in reshaping the world. And I love the way you've brought together your personal life with your professional life. And I think I can't remember who said that quote years ago, that if you bring your passion into what you do, you never have to work another day in your life, and you'll be rewarded for it. So I wish you all the best, and look forward
Thank
to.
you.
I'm hoping maybe we could do some videos together as well, and put some of my
Absolutely.
stories. But my story isn't that interesting yet. But I've got a few more years, hopefully, to go.
Hear that story.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Alessandro, and thank you everybody
Thank
for.
you, Riccardo. And we're both Italian, by the way, for those listening. And I've been here since the age of 9, so my accent is a bit more British. But my Italian, my driving is still Italian, and probably Riccardo's is very Italian, is it?
Yeah. I have a thicker accent than you,
Yeah.
Alessandro.
How's your driving?
My drive, you mean driving, car driving?
Cars, yeah.
You mean because of
Yeah, being
driving on the other.
Italian.
Well, I've been here for 20 years, so it's like I kind of the problem is when I go back to Italy, because it's when I hit a roundabout. That's always the challenge, because I never know if I have to go right or left.
Yes.
It's the same thing when I come back here. So I always have to kind of think about, so right, left,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
look
yeah.
right, look left. So,
But as an Italian, I've had to do 2 rehabilitation tests, whatever they're called, for driving. So but now that I've been retrained, I drive always under the speed limit. So
well done.
thank you, Riccardo. And I'll put all the links in. Please get in touch with Riccardo. Follow him on Instagram. Follow him on LinkedIn. Get in touch if you want some filmmaking done, some portraits. He's an amazing human being, an amazing creative genius. So thank you, Riccardo.
Thank
Talk,
you, everybody.
talk to you
Thank you,
soon.
Alessandro. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.